Good day, it's Gary from G&H Honey Bees, and it's the 23rd of October 2023. It's about 14 degrees Celsius out here right now. We've had 2 or 3 days with some sun in the afternoons, and as you can see, the bees are busy. They're busy flying, and they're bringing in lots of pollen. I don't know exactly where they're getting it from, but they are really bringing in pollen. I've been giving these girls several different types of mite treatments. 4 weeks ago I started with oxalic acid. That knocked out a few mites. Then I switched to Apivar so that the mites didn't get used to one kind of mite treatment. And I did two weeks of Apivar strips, and they worked fairly well. The problem with the Apivar strips is that it's a contact type of treatment, and what I mean by that is that the bees have to walk across the strip to pick up the miticide, and then that gets distributed through the colony. And it doesn't get mites that are in capped cells. So you're only supposed to have, at least according to the instructions on these ones, you're only supposed to have it in for like 6-7 days, and then you switch it out for new ones, which I did. And this colony here, now this is hive 2, it just seems to have a ton of mites. And I just pulled this out. Now 3 days ago I took out the Apivar strip and I put in a Formic Pro strip, or a Formic Pro pad. And the next day there was over 100 mites on the board. Again, from even with the Apivar. So we've got, I don't know, you can see there's a lot of mites here still. I'm going to do a count on these, and then I'll be back in a minute. Yeah, so give me a minute and I'll get these counted and cleaned up. Alright, so I've got these all counted up. This one colony here, hive 2, seems to have the worst infestation over the last 2 weeks, and I've been struggling with COVID. I'm getting a little better day by day, and so I missed 1 or 2 days of doing counts, but I'm still getting high numbers from this one box, even with the 3 different types of mite treatments. The other boxes are relatively light, you know, 10 to 12 from these other boxes, and the other 3 over at my other location are rather light, but this one colony is really heavy with mites. So I'm just going to leave the Formic Pro in there. I've only done a single Formic Pro pad, so according to the instructions you're supposed to do another one after 10 days. So I'm just going to let it work, and hopefully the mite count decreases in this colony. The other thing I want to talk to you about is my winter feeding strategy. I've switched them from sugar water to straight sugar in the feeders, and I'm not going to lift that lid. Oh, that's really warm. There, I'll just set you up there for a second. It's 27 degrees Celsius. That's 77 Fahrenheit. Not on that lid. Now that's got to be full of bees. Yeah, that's full of bees. So how I feed the girls in the wintertime sugar is I've got an empty dish here just to show you. This will hold 2 pounds of wet sugar, and I take I use my missus's a mixer, put 2 pounds of sugar in it, and then add 2 tablespoons of water, and I blend it with the mixer until all the sugar is a little bit damp, and then I can pack it into these, and that'll pack right up to this lip. And then when I come out to give them the sugar, I wait until they've cleaned this dish out, the one that's in there. And that way, once there's nothing in there for them to eat, there won't be hardly any bees left in the dish. And then I can simply take a full dish, pop this one off, and pop the full dish on, and then I just take whatever bees are in the dish that I removed, and I shake them off at the entrance. And that way it's really quick and simple. Now when I first started using these feeders, and that's already cooling off, there's one problem I found with them is during the wintertime when it's cold, of course the air in the upper area here is going to be the same temperature as it is outside, because there's no real insulation in the inner covers, and we still have yellow jackets here. And so I was using styrofoam, but it was cut out so that it would fit down over the dish, and it would still leave the top of the dish exposed. And I found that first winter when I was using them that I ended up with dead bees in the feeder, because they were coming up through the center. But they come up through the center, they feed, and then they go back down. But because the top of the dish was as cold as it was outside, they would freeze up and eventually die off, and then I had a whole bunch of dead bees in the feeder. So now I cover them. I've got burlap potato sacks, and I cover this with burlap, and that helps hold the heat in from the bee cluster. And I know some people say that it doesn't stay warm in the upper area, but as you just seen, that having that burlap bag on there, see, that's already gone down to 69 degrees. Having that burlap bag holds in a good amount of heat, so the bees can come up and feed and then go back down in. And the other thing that I do is I've got ventilation holes here, and you can see how they propolize these ventilation holes. And you can just see some bees ambling about there. But I've got this little 3-sided 3D printed box here, and I cover that front hole with that box so that any moist, damp air that is coming up out of the box can just get ventilated to the outside. And then the bag, of course, covers the one at the back. So every once in a while I have to come out and change the bag because it gets wet. If it gets really cold, I'll put a second bag on top of that, and that just keeps some of the warmth into that feeder. And I've had great success doing it this way, and it's still easier than trying to open the hive right up in the wintertime, and like putting newspaper on tops of the frames in there and then covering that with sugar. This way there's not so much heat loss in the box, and the bees don't seem to mind. So that's how I've been doing it, and I'm going to keep doing it that way. So if you're thinking about going to using these hive top feeders, they work wonderfully well, especially for sugar water. It's got a cap in there for sugar water that keeps the bees from drowning, and they can just get in here and drink. Now, the one difference between my dish, because this is 3D printed, and commercial dishes is, the commercial dish, the center tube is extended down about 1/4 of an inch. So you actually have to have a hole big enough for that to fit through, whereas mine is flat. And that way, it doesn't matter how big the hole is in the inner cover. I can just set that over the hole, and they will still be able to go up and feed and come back through. So that's it for now. We're supposed to get a really cold spell coming starting tomorrow. So I may put a second burlap bag on top of these bees, and that'll just help hold the moisture in, or hold the heat in, and hopefully the moisture will get vented out the front like it has been. And yeah, I know it's good to see the bees out and about on days like this, but they're not clustered up, so they're eating through some of their winter food in there. I just know they are. I haven't done a weight on them for 3 or 4 weeks now, but I get a feeling that you know, when I put the Formic Pro strips in here a few days ago, all I did was pop this up with my hive tool, just lifted the back of the hive up, blew some smoke in there to keep the bees from coming out, and slid the strip in, and then just set it back down. But I could tell that this was a lot lighter than what it was a few weeks ago. So I'm pretty sure because they've been so active lately, that they're eating through their winter food. But they all appear to be healthy, all got strong populations, and yeah, they seem to be doing well. The 3 at the other location, they're doing very well, and yeah, let's just hope that I'm kind of hoping for cooler weather so we can get them into a cluster, and they'll just stay indoors and keep themselves warm. But you can see they're just flying pretty good as it is. Now, they could be getting some nectar off of something around here at this time of year, but I don't know what. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. I'm going to go back indoors and warm up, and yeah. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you got something out of how I do my winter setup. I might wrap some clear plastic around the backs of these boxes, because I have the boxes all tilted forward. It helps keep the rain from piling up on the landing boards and running underneath the entrance reducer. So it helps keep the rain out from the box. But I might put plastic around the back, because there's rain runs down the back of the box now, and it might get through the cracks between the boxes. I'm not sure. Anywho, yeah, that's it for today. And I don't know if there's going to be any more videos this year. There might be, but I want to get a little better before I do anything else. And we'll talk to you again soon. So I'd like to thank you all for watching, and keep on watching. There'll be more. Bye for now.